Semua masyarakat Indonesia berhak untuk mendapat kualitas hidup yang sama. Dengan 56% penduduk berada di satu pulau, 44% penduduk lainnya memiliki keterbatasan akses. Kita percaya bahwa akses untuk meningkatkan diri harus merata. Dari kesenjangan ini, Kumpul hadir dengan visi untuk memberikan akses yang lebih merata untuk pemberdayaan kewirausahaan di seluruh Indonesia. Dengan jejaring penggerak ekosistem yang luas, kami memiliki program-program inovatif yang bisa meningkatkan skill dan network untuk mendukung entrepreneurs yang didistribusikan melalui lebih dari 70 hubs dan community partners kami yang tersebar di puluhan kota di Indonesia.
Kumpul telah mengedukasi kami untuk menjadi ekosistem builder yang terbaik, serta exposure dan akses ke program-program nasional.
Lebih dari 1.200 startup dan 400 kesempatan kerja telah terbentuk melalui program-program Kumpul, sebagai bukti nyata kami dalam pemberdayaan ekosistem kewirausahaan. Tidak hanya berhenti di situ, Kumpul juga turut membantu para talenta dan pelaku bisnis untuk semakin meningkatkan kualitas mereka melalui jaringan mentor kami.
Partnering with Kumpul is one of the most effective ways for VC to be directly connected with the local startup ecosystem.
Kumpul yakin, bersama kita bisa memberikan impact lebih besar bagi entrepreneurs dan menjadikan Indonesia yang lebih berdaya.
Microsoft's mission is to empower every person in every organization on the planet to achieve more.
Our culture enables us to pursue our mission with a growth mindset.
Developing a growth mindset requires a continuous practice of learning, renewal, and having the courage to confront our own fixed mindsets.
Collectively, we're moving from a group of people who know it all to a group of people who want to learn it all.
Microsoft and our data center teams are committed to building diverse teams and an inclusive workplace.
We know that diverse teams drive better performance by almost every measure.
More innovative thinking, better decision-making, better understanding of our customers, and better products and solutions.
We also know that building inclusive culture is essential so that everyone can thrive.
The phrase, "I go where I'm invited, but I stay where I'm welcomed," is a reminder that we must work on both diversity and inclusion.
To build an inclusive culture, we are committed to Microsoft's 10 inclusive behaviors.
Examine your assumptions.
Make a habit of asking questions.
Ensure all voices are heard.
Listen carefully to the person speaking until they feel understood.
Address misunderstandings and resolve disagreements.
If you have a strong reaction to someone, ask yourself why.
Include and seek input from people with a wide variety of backgrounds.
Take action to reduce stressful situations.
Understand each person's contribution.
Be brave.
I'm committed to building a diverse and inclusive workplace. What will you commit to?
Good afternoon and welcome to InConnect, an industry insight session presented by Kumpul. My name is Ajeng and I will be your host for today. Thank you very much for joining us in this special occasion. Let me know where you guys are coming from in the chat box below. And I would like to give a special thanks to Microsoft for being our service partner at the 7th InConnect program and also Kirim email for supporting us. Once again, Welcome to InConnect, Industry, Insight, and Connect. InConnect captures the latest industry, insight, and platform to collaborate between industry key players. In the seventh InConnect, we want to bring something different and open more opportunities for collaboration and growth to startups. We have a panel discussion and also speed dating session for a couple of startups that chosen. Previously, we have conducted 6 InConnect sessions, inviting experts from agriculture, sustainability, digital consumer, fintech and logistics, AI, and no-code revolution. In today's InConnect, we will have a closer look into diversity and inclusion. Throughout this session, we will be having a panel discussion between the industry experts around diversity and inclusion sectors. The panel will shed some lights on how the diversity and inclusion may revolutionize the way startups run their business. We will get to know about the trends, current landscape, change and challenge, and also even the opportunities. We hope that you will receive new insights and potential collaboration with the industry experts to drive more impacts in the industry through our InConnect program. Because KUMPUL is committed to provide innovative programs and extensive opportunities for you to scale up and grow your business. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, I would like to invite Amalia Ainindur as our Vice President of Ecosystem at KUMPUL to give us an opening remarks. To Amalia, the stage is all yours.
Right. Thank you, Ajang, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. It's really nice to be here today, and I'm so happy to welcome all of you in this InConnect series talking about diversity and inclusion. So first of all, I want to say thank you to our partners, Microsoft, for supporting this program, and also our amazing panelists. We have Krishna from Microsoft, we have Ardi from IFC, Ayu from Anyam, and also our moderator, Tina from Oxfam. Thank you so much for joining us today. Also, thank you and good luck for all the startups, VCs, and also corporations that will join us in our speed dating after this. So I believe I have prepared a little bit of visual to introduce KUMPUL and also this InConnect as well as our upcoming program. Maybe the team can help to show. Yeah, right. Thank you. So as KUMPUL, we call ourselves as an ecosystem engine or enabler where we empower entrepreneurial ecosystem and focusing on entrepreneurs' growth. Next. Right. Since we started, we have a goal in mind where we want to provide equal access for entrepreneurs everywhere. When we're talking about access, we're talking about access to good mentors, to knowledge, capital, and also networks so that entrepreneurs from, let's say, Kalimantan or Sulawesi can have the same access as entrepreneurs in Jakarta. And so these are some of our programs and footprints that we do across Indonesia. Next. Right. And to make this happen, we are tirelessly engaging government, local ecosystem player, corporations, universities, founders, mentors, community leaders, and also global players to learn and collaborate with each other to provide better visibility and support for our startups and SMEs to grow and scale their business. So we are focusing our efforts on helping entrepreneurs, both international and local, to expand and grow their business through our programs, curriculum, and extensive networks. Next. Right, so together we have managed to engage 940 plus experts, 130 entrepreneurs hub from 38 cities. We empower almost 5,000 entrepreneurs through 170 plus program collaborations. We facilitate 179 partnership explorations together with 18 plus key partners. Next. Right. So these are several programs that we do, our flagship program and also programs that we do together with our partners. We have InConnect, where we try to bridge the needs of industries and corporations with innovations that the startups can offer. So on each InConnect series, we are covering specific industry. We invite key players within the industry and share insights and get connected with one another. So until now, we have conducted 7 InConnect series, including this one, and connecting more than 40 startups potential partners, in which more than 35% are having a follow-up meeting after the event. And today, I would take this opportunity to share our upcoming program, X Accelerator by KUMPUL, and supported by Microsoft. Next. Right. So through X Accelerator, we want to support startups to expand their business, exploring many business collaboration, and also accelerate their growth and impact. Right. So X Accelerator by KUMPUL is a scale-up program for Indonesian startups to develop more sustainable business through partnerships, collaborations. We are looking for early-stage Indonesian startups with competent founding team and strong traction that have vision to support diversity and inclusion in Indonesia. Next. So what does it mean by startup that support diversity and inclusion? So when we're talking about diversity, it means that they are targeting audience that are in needs to be empowered. For example, gender focus such as women, and people with disability, underdeveloped cities. And for them, they are bringing inclusivity through the innovations by creating an enabling environment for their target audience to provide them equal access and treatment. So if you are one of them and startups that are bringing this value, let them know about this program, as we are opening our application starting from 21st of April, which is yesterday, until 21st of May, which is next month. Right, next. Right. So for this X Accelerator, we are going to have several pre-events like info sessions and also webinar. So please just stay tuned in our social media to get more updates. And then there's going to be a selection process happening at the end of May. And we're going to onboard all the startups to join the 2 months program. Consists of workshops and mentoring on June, showcase day on early of July, and followed by partnership exploration with our partners. Next. We can continue. Next. Right. So what we're going to get from this program, there are going to be classes and mentoring about people and product, discussion about diversity and inclusion, together with global players, business development, branding, and partnership exploration. And during the program, you will be accompanied by dedicated mentors and startup success manager, and you will get access to many perks and opportunities to get connected with our network. Next. Right, so these are some of alumni from our previous cohort. We can continue. Okay. So later on, we're going to show you the link that you can use to apply for the program and share to your network as well. And also you can follow KUMPUL Instagram in KUMPUL_ID for more information. Next. Right. Here's the link and the barcode. You can scan it. Okay. So I think that's what I can share for today. Back to the InConnect sessions today. After this session, I hope all of us can go back with new insights and perspective about diversity and inclusion. Also for the selected startups to make the best of the speed dating that you're going to have later. So good luck, and I hope you enjoy the sessions. Thank you very much. I'll give it back to Ajang.
Thank you very much for Mbak Amel for your warm opening. So for all of you who are interested in getting into our acceleration program, please do register yourself to the link below at bit.ly/join-accelerator kumpul. By joining this program, You will get free classes and mentoring sessions with our experts and opportunities to scale up your business through the potential partnerships. So, ladies and gentlemen, for now, without further ado, let's tune into our panel topic for today, diversity and inclusion. Therefore, I would like to invite our moderator for today, Tina Napitupulu, as the GRAISEA 2 Indonesia lead at Oxfam Indonesia. Currently, Tina has been working in international NGOs for the last 10 years, and her main working issues are gender and women economic empowerment in value chain and agriculture business development. She is currently working in Oxfam Indonesia, leading a project that focuses on transforming gender practice in agri and aquaculture value chain. So, to Tina, the stage is all yours.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you to Mbak Ajeng for the very kind introductions of me and my program in Oxfam. And just when Mbak Ajeng introduced me, suddenly I remember a video that I watched, I think several years ago, I think almost like 8 years ago, when I stumbled into a video of Michael Porter. In that video, he wasn't talk about, value chain, nor the 5 forces, but he talked about how business could actually solve social problems. And in that video, he spoke that it becoming crucial for companies to be able to have the capacity to solve social problems, to have impact, because he saw that there's an increasing number of people that see business as the main problem in society. And I think today we want to unpack that. And I think today we are going to talk how actually business worldwide are actively solving problems, becoming more inclusive, embracing the concept of diversity, having impact and having purpose. And luckily this afternoon we have amazing panelists. We have 3 amazing panelists. And I will call them based on alphabets. So I will start with calling Pak Ardi Putra Baramuli. He's from International Finance Corporation. Hi, good afternoon, Pak Ardi.
Hi.
How are
Hello.
you?
Good afternoon, Butina. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, it's really nice to have you here. And I hope
you.
we
Pleasure
could
to be
have I wish we could have a deep dive discussion about IFC and the strategy IFC has on, kind of like encourage diversity and inclusivity in business. Okay, so let me call my second panelist, Bu Azalea Ayuningtyas, or Bu Ayu. She is the co-founder and CEO of Anyam.
Halo Mbak Tina, thank you for having me here. Hi Pak Ardi.
Hello, thank you for joining us this afternoon. We really like to hear your experience working in eastern part of Indonesia. Okay, so let me call our last, but not, our last panelist, but also play an important role in, moving a company toward a more diverse and inclusive business. I will call Pak Krishna Worotikan. He's the CFO and Diversity Inclusion Lead in Microsoft Indonesia. Hi, Pak.
Hi, Mbak Tina. How are you?
Oh, excellent. I feel great. This is a topic that I really enjoy. I just opened with Michael Porter video. So I was excited about this. And actually, I already prepared, like 100 questions already. You
Sure.
100
We have.
questions for
I
you to
can spend
answer.
all week on this
Okay.
one.
Yeah, I think we could have a workshop about this. So I have 100, but not include this one. So this doesn't count into that 100. So I will start with the first one. We talk about diversity and inclusion, and each companies, each organization, sometimes it's a big word. So sometimes everyone have a different interpretations, different practice and applications in their company and in their organization. So I wonder how exactly your company and your organization apply the concept of diversity and inclusion. This time I will start with Pak Krishna first, and then I will go to Bu Ayu, and then Pak Ardi. Yeah, go ahead, Pak Krishna.
Sure. Just time check. How many hours do we have on this topic?
Oh, okay. No worry, we have 4 days.
Just kidding. No. It's a topic that's really in the core of our DNA in Microsoft, right? Our mission is to empower every person and every organization in this planet to achieve more, right? So keyword is every person, regardless of their gender, their sexual identity, whether they're a person with disability or not, but every single person, right? And I guess I will oversimplify it if I say that it's not a journey that we've gone through. As a tech company, I think we're pretty much a dinosaur, right? I mean, it's a 45-year-old tech company, right? So it has gone through definitely a journey, right? And I would say it's the one of the key turning point is when Satya Nadella, our current global CEO, took over, right? That we go through this almost a revolution in the culture of the company to become more empathetic, right? So it's all about the people. And I believe that a big part of that comes from his own experience, right? So his son is with cerebral palsy, right? So he makes it a point, right, where all of Microsoft products and solutions have to be accessible to everyone. So, for example, a very quite common example that I quote is that there is an special Xbox console designed for people with cerebral palsy, right? So that's as easy as that. And I can spend days on to talk about just I don't know if all of you realize, but almost in every simple product like Word, Excel. No, I'm not selling anything, but I hope that you guys are familiar with some of these products. They have basic accessibility features, right, for the hard in hearing, hard in vision, right? Even for today. So that just made me realize something. For those of you who can't see me, I am a male in my 30s right now. I have a brown jacket and a white shirt with me, and I'm very excited to be here with you, right? So simple things like that, and it goes right through, starting from the way we hire people, right? There's really no difference at all, right? Whatever shape or sound that comes out of you, as long as you have the abilities and the skills that we need to perform a particular job, you're hired. We have one of our diversity inclusion champion up in corporate is this corporate vice president globally who is a transgender, right? And he goes and advocate this. And for the first time, if you meet her, she is very loud, right? You can see that she's very expressive in even her appearance, and also she can be quite a bit in your face, right? But that's just diversity, right? If you meet somebody like that, don't frown or anything, right? It's normal, right? I mean, like, we have all shapes of people around. But it does take more effort, right? I've just had my first experience trying to organize an accessibility event, right? And just to think of, oh, I need to provide subtitles, I need to provide sign language interpreters. And then if I have a panel with people speaking in Indonesian and in English, I need 2 sign language interpreters, right? So I guess by having this especially in the beginning of the journey, right? You need to spend more time and effort to think about the minority groups that you don't see or interact every day, right? Think about, is my product something that other people can enjoy as well, right? So this is something, an additional effort that I would say have to be made, especially in the beginning of your journey. I know that's a very long answer to a short question, but we can have more discussions later on.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Pa Krishna. I mean, I think there are several keywords that I really like from you. That every single person, that's amazing. Every single person on this planet, that's a huge one. And I think you give kind of like a clue. Put every group, everyone in your mind, whether and check whether they actually can enjoy your product. That's amazing. I think that's the first step to be, I think, to be inclusive business. Thank you so much. I will go to Bu Ayu. Yes, please share with us about Du Anyam, because I know you are also you are a impactful business, I may say. You work in eastern part of Indonesia. Yes, please share with us about your journey.
Yeah, thank you, Martina. It's amazing to hear Pak Krishna's point of view from a giant in the tech industry, and what we do with Du Anyam, because we are a social enterprise, right? And we are actually working with women in very remote areas of Indonesia. So it's essentially almost like a planet away from all the amazing products and the amazing environment that you were sharing, because where we work, even access to electricity is just very recently available to them, and the signal for phone and internet is still very difficult, and that's also one of the main reason why we exist, right? So in Anyam, we are connecting all these women that already have amazing skills using natural resources in their community, and we connect them with the market. We connect them with the right tools and technology in order to help them grow and answer like three main vision for us, which is empowering women, promoting culture, and improving livelihood, right? So really, inclusion is and diversity in terms of women is the reason why we even exist, right? We wanted to make sure that all these women in rural areas at least have the opportunity to lift themselves out of the problems, out of the poverty that they are facing, right? So essentially what we do is we provide them the opportunity to help themselves. And what we're doing it by leveraging on the skills that they already have, which is beaker weaving, using palmilla leaf, which is abundant in the area, and we teach them how to make good quality, how to have a good supply chain system, and how to make design that is relatable to the current market. So that's what we do in Anyam, and now we work with over 1,000 women, mostly in Flores in East Nusa Tenggara and also in South Kalimantan. And we've been selling their products both in the domestic market as well as to the global market as well. So that's what we do in Anyam. And while we're building Anyam, we also realized that a lot of other community, small micro enterprises, they couldn't grow if they don't have access to technology, right? So also digital inclusion is the next keyword, because in 3 years the gap is going to be much bigger between those in urban areas that have access to technology and those in rural remote areas that have low digital literacy. So that's why we actually also built our second venture, which is called Kreologi. That's essentially wanting to provide digital ecosystem for micro and small businesses using all the knowledge that we have in Anyam, all the tools and technology that we build in Anyam, and work with more micro and small businesses all over Indonesia. And right now we've already have 10,000 small micro business in our ecosystem, and they're using our user-friendly mobile app Kreologi in order to manage and their business with a very user-friendly app. And again, the key is actually digital inclusion in that. That's the reason why we even exist, right? But in how we actually do our business as usual day to day, we're actually 100% women owned and women led. and we have 75% women employees. So it is really, there's a lot of women in the area. So what it means is not just the numbers, but it also means how we make room for these women to be able to not just work, but also fulfill their other roles as a mother, right? So, as an example, we have very amazing middle managers or even other staff that recently have give birth. And then a lot of them starts to wonder, can they actually still work, right? Can they follow the long commute that they need to take to go to the office, for example? And even before pandemic in like 2019, early 2020, we have started an option to do work from home for these newly moms, for example. And we had this conversation, right? I said to them, we want to provide alternative employment. We want to empower women in remote areas. So that's what we want to do, so that in how we do our work with our internal employee, we also have to portray that. That's why we want to make sure, if you love your job, you have no problem with the company or your job, we have to make sure how we can allow you to still work while being a mom. So that's also an example in how we really live that, not just in why we make the business, but also on how we do the business. We also need to have that diversity and inclusive policy as well. I think I stopped there first, Martina.
Yeah, it's actually excited to hear you sharing your stories. I think later on we can learn more about your journey, and it's nice to hear that your company is able to address so many gaps, like geographical gaps, gender gaps, knowledge and technical gaps, and then you kind of like encourage women in eastern part of Indonesia to exercise their leadership. And I especially like that walk the talk thing. Yeah, sometimes
Thank
it's
you.
easier to talk, but then when you have to do it by yourself, it's challenging. So yeah, Pak Ardi, kindly share with us how is IFC apply diversity and inclusion. I also know that I think you work in eastern part of Indonesia as well, and think geographical gap is also one of the concern in IFC. Can you explain more about that?
Sure. So just to clarify, yes, I actually work in Jakarta. I'm originally from Eastern Indonesia, my family. IFC, for IFC, diversity and inclusion is a core of what we do, because we have, we are established with 186 country members. Diversity of nationality is a given. We come from all different nationalities, and of course, races, and we need to respect all different backgrounds of our staff members, and ensure that we can maximize their experience, and make sure that they're heard, to have inclusion in all that we do in different countries that we work in. But in addition, I think, to some of the points that the other speakers mentioned about, we also look at age as a diversity issue or an inclusion issue. Also, about education background as a diversity and inclusion issue. One simple example that we've started in the last couple of years is doing reverse mentorship, where younger people do mentorships for older people. That's one thing that we try to do, to make sure that there's a balance, that that older people can also learn from the millennials as well. And in terms of diversity and inclusion in all the projects that we do is a very big thing. For example, we have a special team that looks after gender development in our projects. Our impact measurements for all our projects, include items in diversity and inclusion. So it's definitely where we started from, with multinational representations of when we started, and of course in things every day in all our projects, diversity, inclusion, and impact is front and center of what we do.
Wow, I think from all of the share all the panelists gave, we can see that there are so many elements of diversity and inclusion that we can actually work on, and there are so many ways of improving diversity and inclusion. I mean, addressing them and make it works in your business and companies, I think. So I want to know more whether this is actually a trend in the world, making impact, making purpose, serving the bottom groups. Is this actually a global trend? So I think I want to go to Krishna first. Do you see this as a global trend? Do you think it's important for companies nowadays to have a purpose, to think about impact in their mind? Yes, Krishna.
Very short answer is yes, right? I think most of the, I would say, Fortune 500 or the top, S&P companies would have at least one person focusing on diversity, right? That person who called, Chief Diversity Officer up in their highest leadership level, right? That they would have. And then most, companies also, they take into account the board representation, right? So they would have female board members, Asian board members, African Americans in the U.S. I think you see that pretty much happening in most of the top companies, and the case for it is very real, right? Because it's not just an idea anymore; it's something that our shareholders want, right? So if you look at how, as I said, right, you can almost see, I would say, correlation, not causation. So I always, kind of question those studies that are showing, the companies that are having more diversity, having more revenues, right? I mean, we can prove correlation, but not causation. So in terms of Microsoft itself, right, we've seen that how our shareholders are appreciating our efforts, right, and you see in the past, since Satya took over like 8 years ago, we're probably grown almost like tenfolds, right, from what we were back then. And in terms of kind of like measuring stuff like that, I'm a finance person. I have a big challenge in terms of how do I make a business case for it. But bottom line to me, it goes back to employee productivity, right? As I said, when we allow every person to come into the office as their true self, their true potentials, then they can spend less time to worry about their identities, to cover their identities just to make sure that other people like them, and just focus their time and energy in producing impact to the company. To me, that's pretty much my point.
Wow, kind of like you address right to the heart of our discussion, that impact and profit is not a trade-off. It's actually a line, and it has a strong connections between them. You don't have to worry about your identity. It's free for you to express and focus on being productive in business. So I think I will jump to, because you already mentioned about measurement, so I want to kind of like jump a bit to the questions of measurement. So I want to go to Ardi. I heard that recently IFC kind of like invest in Awan Tunai. I think they are also considered as a impact company. They have a purpose in mind. They serve the unserved group today. For example, like small farmers in rural areas in Indonesia. So I want to know, do you actually see diversity and inclusion? I mean, do you consider that elements when you assess these companies? And what are actually the qualities that you're looking for? I think I will start with that one before I ask how actually you measure your investment.
Yeah, so thank you for the question, Tina. So as mentioned, creating impact, as you mentioned, at the bottom of the pyramid, IFC, is main mission is to make sure that we do support the inclusion. We do support gender. We do support inclusivity. Actually, one of the things that we've done is actually we've established what we call operating principles for impact management. So that's actually a guideline that we've provided to help support impact investors. And now these operating principles developed by IFC are followed by over 140 privately and publicly funds, investment funds, and institutions. to measure, what kind of impacts, whether it's gender, climate, sustainability. So it's not a question of profit or impact for IFC. It is profit and impact. IFC is the private arm of the World Bank Group, but as part of the larger organization of the World Bank Group, impact is non-negotiable. We can't do something for the sake of chasing pure profit. It has to balance, and it can be as simple as, for example, if we do work with I come from the financial institutions group. We work with financial institutions companies. It can be as simple as how many loans are given to women. Is it balanced between men and women? How many farmers? How many female farmers are given loans to? So and it can be other items internally within the organization. I think Krishna mentioned how many women representations are on the board. These are kind of recommendations and advice and guidance and measurements that we provide as part of our projects. And it's not 1 out of 10 projects. It's 10 out of 10 projects that IFC work at. They have to have impact measurements into it. If it becomes profitable but the impact goals are not achieved, then it's considered not a successful project.
Okay, so it's non-negotiable. You have to have impact. That's really nice to know, Pa. And can people kind of like freely get this principle from your website then? So we can use that and measure ourselves to that.
Yes, it's if we look out operating principles for impact management. It will link to impactprinciples.org, so www.impactprinciples.org, and you can look at that. It's widely used by impact investors, and of course, as it's widely used by impact investors, when companies want to look for impact investors, they can use that as well to guide and prepare them to make sure that they're positioned and aligned with impact investors.
Okay, thank you. I think for all of you who really want to know more about this principle, you can just go ahead to the website and use that as a self-assessment tool probably. Okay, now kind of like I want to go to Bu Ayu. Before going to how do you measure your impact, I want to know more about how do you actually found your purpose and you then develop your business model. Can you share more before addressing the measurement part?
Well, I think for us, it actually really comes from the social problems. And in the beginning, because of my background in public health, the concern was actually in terms of nutrition and also women's and child's health, which, as we know, stunting is still a big problem in Indonesia, especially in Eastern Indonesia. So when we try to understand why that's the case, even though there's already a lot of different programs given by the government and other international NGO, we realize that actually social economic problems is really part of the root cause, where the woman doesn't have access to cash income that they can use to buy nutritious food, and they only rely on subsistence agriculture. And when we see that problem, we also see on the other hand that there's an opportunity to leverage on existing resources and skills that's already there in the community, but there is lack of quality, lack of access to the market, and so on. So we started with the social problems itself. I mean, there's like a longer story on like how we figure out how to do this, obviously, of course, but that's the second most important thing is even when we come in and we have this hypothesis of how we run the business, we really need to actually listen to the women community themselves, right? Because they know their own like situation, they know their own problem, and they know their own needs and their own ability. So we have to actually listen from their side and what is their thoughts, and make sure that it's part of their ownership as well on how we design how our social enterprise works. And that's how we can win their trust and how we can actually be sustainable moving forward. Yeah, I think that's basically that. It really comes from the social economic problems behind some of the health challenges that women and children are facing, especially in remote parts Eastern Indonesia.
So it starts with identifying their problem, listen to them, ask them to be part of the designing process of the business. All right, that's amazing. Thank you for the tips. For those startup who already think of applying that, I think this is a really good tips that we could apply. No, I want to go to Krishna. As a dinosaur, I mean, it's a big company. I think this is my assumption. I think with or without the, you know, uh, the change in practice, probably Microsoft will still be dinosaur. But here you are, anyway, promoting diversity and inclusion, and you lead the change. I want to know, how do you actually communicate this change? Communicate the values that currently Microsoft has to the customer. I mean, because for example, there could be many people out there that doesn't really care and aware. So how do you actually communicate that? And can you kind of like scale up your impact from your communication with your customer, Pak?
Sure. I think it really starts internally, right? Even before we go out and communicate externally, I think we need to make sure that our kitchen is clean, right? So that's an everyday journey that we still go through right now, and it's not easy, definitely. Although, if you talk about Microsoft globally, probably we have sort of a more established culture ingrained, right? But locally in each country, it would have its own kind of social, cultural nuances, right? And so, for example, in Indonesia, I mean, it's still something that we are continuously striving towards. For example, this year, we just conducted a workshop with all the hiring managers that is conducted by one of the nonprofits that are trying to get employment for people with disabilities, right? And so we still do have maybe stigmas around when we have, say, 2 3 candidates up for a particular position, and one person is with a disability. We have to make sure that there is literally nothing that stands between that person and the job, right? And unfortunately, I think there is still some conversations to be had around that, right? So that's why we conduct workshops like that. Small things, right? If you want to hire a person with physical disability, for example, do you have all the right infrastructure, right? Do you have a ramp whenever you have a kind of a stairs or steps in your office? Do you have braille in your elevator buttons, right? For example, things like that. A lot of things that need to happen, right? So start internally, of course, right? And then externally, it's the same thing. We talk about it every day. Externally now, I go out with my titles as CFO plus diversity and inclusion lead. So I have to make sure that everyone in the market knows that we take this very seriously, and it's in every single conversation that we do with customers and partners. And with that, it goes with our programs. For example, we do have a program with our partners where if any of our customers or partners want to hire a person with disability, for example, and then we have a commitment to provide the training and the technology that's needed to do that, right? So we go and help them to do that as well. So we don't just advocate, but we try to facilitate as well for other companies out there that are willing to go in this journey, but maybe they still have doubts or they're just the beginning, right? So we try to facilitate that as well.
Thank you, Pak Krishna. Making sure that our kitchen clean first. Yeah, again, it's kind of like it's difficult because we really have to have that conversation going on internally to really able to check whether our kitchen clean or there's something in the drawer, below that table and things like that. So interesting. So I want to go back to Bu Ayu, talking about scaling up your impact. I mean, earlier you talked about addressing economic problem, listening, and then designing your business with them. Do you think that's enough to scale up your impact, or after that steps, after going through process with them, is there any other process that you took to scaling up your impact?
Okay. So I guess when we're talking about scaling impact, there really is two dimension, right? Which is, are we going to deeper impact, or are we going for wider impact, right? And for us, we actually wanted to do both. So, and how we do this is that in Anyam, we are aiming for deeper impact, right? So essentially, I didn't manage to talk about some of the impact measurement that we do just now, but obviously the direct impact from what we do is that there is an increase in women income, right? So we can easily measure that just by, the more our business is going, then the more like the women are getting increase in their income. So that's our main direct impact. But we also have additional impact, right? So in terms of that we measure as well, which is the increase in women saving, and then also the increase in women decision making power, which is sort of an indirect impact that we didn't plan for before. But because they're part of something bigger than themselves, they're part of our community of Anyam Weaving, they become more confident. They can bring money and value to their family, and so they have more voice. They have more decision making power in deciding what assets to buy in their family. And even what we hear that in the village itself, they become more confident because they're just not just another person, but they're part of Anyam that makes their village being known by outside world. So they starting to be able to participate in some of the village meetings and so on. So those are some of the impacts that we measured as well. We do like annual survey of impact as well. And when we talk about deeper impact, what we do as a social enterprise also, we are partnering, collaborating with a lot of other different organizations. So including other NGOs that is providing scholarship. So we embedded that we do not use our own funds for the scholarship, but we have another NGO that have the scholarship, but they don't have access. They don't know who to provide it to. So we provide it to the children of our weavers, and we tag that into the business because we only curate weavers that are having good quality. So when they have good quality, then their children can be eligible to the scholarship, for example. So that's how we go into a deeper impact. And the focus with Anyam is not just deep impact, but also a sustainable and a stable impact, so like stable income. That's why we're working with larger buyers, like a B2B or a wholesale buyers, including export buyers that we built with Anyam. Now, the second dimension of impact is actually the width, the wide, how wide we can have the impact. So how many people can be impacted, So when we go wide, we couldn't go both wide and deep. So when we go with wide, it's what we do with our new initiative, which is Kreologi. So what that means is that we're using technology, because when we're working with Anyam, we're working with 1,000 women now. In 5 years, maybe we work with 3,000 women or 5,000 women, but that's deep impact. We cannot work with 100,000 women in like 3 years, because that would be like wide impact, but it wouldn't be as deep. So what we choose to do is with Kreologi, we're aiming for that wide impact. That's why we with Kreologi, with the technology and the mobile app, it's all the learnings, all the system we have built across 7 years with Anyam. We put that into like training modules and mobile apps for other community, other small micro business to manage their business using our system. And we can tap right now, even like about a year, we already work with 10,000 micro businesses, right? And the goal is in 5 years we can tap into 500,000 micro businesses. So that's how we go wide. We do wide with technology and with partnership, and that's how we scale the impact.
Thank you, Bu Ayu, for sharing about the different kind of impact. That's actually pretty new to me. And then for sharing your transformation and innovation to actually address the needs from the group, the beneficiaries group. Okay, I think, the organizers already kind of like, up, the time is up. So one last questions to all panelists. Do you think Indonesia need more impact investor and more startup, purposeful startup with regard to diversity and inclusion? So it's a yes or no answer, and just make a one sentence explanation why. This time I will start with Pak Ardi first.
Okay, so very quickly, I hope I can get a couple sentences in here. I think yes, we know we do need more impact investors, and if I can make a note, one thing we haven't mentioned yet is about climate. Climate is a big thing that we need to look at, and it will impact Indonesia significantly. Having said that, though, Indonesia I think is blessed because as our core constitution, we already have social and economic balance in Pancasila, which is a good model for us. I think to have, so that we already have that in our spirit and in our constitutions. That's what I'd like to end with. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Ardi. I will go to Pak Krishna.
1,000 times yes, right? And I think not just investors. I think every organization, every company, corporations, startups, especially, right? Because you're trying very quickly, establishing your business and your sustainability very early on. I like what Ayu mentioned that her organization chose width over depth. I think the diversity and inclusion is a journey, right? It's a spectrum. It's a wide spectrum. And there's no right or wrong answer, right? As long as you know where you are in that particular spectrum and where do you want to go, right? Go step by step every day. Start with your internal organization and speak to your larger ecosystem as you go through the journey. I think that's for me.
Thank you, Pak Krishna. And Bu Ayu?
Definitely yes. And I think what's really needed is that in terms of the impact investor, there needs to be different investor for different scale and different phase of the startup, right? And also different types of the startup. Are we talking about those deep impact, smaller business startup, or like the wide tech startup? They will also give a huge tons of returns and wide impact, right? So I think we need more and more impact investor with different specific purpose of the startup.
Okay. Thank you to all the panelists. Well, it's too bad that I could not kind of like give you all my 100 questions, but I think
we should do round two, Martina.
Probably? Sorry?
We should do round two. Maybe in person.
Yes, I think so. Additional round. But thank you so much for the discussion. I learned a lot about your
Thank
companies,
you,
the products and the practice. It's so amazing. I wish you all good luck with the process. And now I think with that one last questions, I will give the space back to Mbak Ajeng. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you very much for Mbak Tina and all of the panelists for such a fruitful session. Also, thank you very much to Microsoft, IFC, and Anyam for your very insightful conversation. We in Kumpul are also supporting the values of diversity and inclusion. As you may already know, we are opening the application for Startup Accelerator program named X Accelerator by Kumpul. I think we are all on the same track here. Well, everyone, before we end our session, I hope our excitement and spirit doesn't stop here because after this, we will hear some words about Microsoft GSEP. And for that, I would like to invite Bapak Vicky Setiono as the country lead of Azure Business Group at Microsoft. For Bapak Vicky, the time is all yours.
Real progress on diversity and inclusion doesn't happen without real work. Ideally, when we try to create change, we can do so without error. But that's not the kind of world we live in, the ideal kind. Even if we each had a blueprint, a prototype, or a manual, we would still have setbacks. We would still make mistakes. So each day we must strive to create a culture and a community that includes all of us. To ensure that systems and societies support all of us. We must create, iterate, and create again, because that's the work. Good intentions alone don't make real progress, and progress will never be perfect. Progress requires us each to examine our decisions, our perceptions, our attitudes, and the impact we have on the world around us. When it comes to diversity and inclusion, this is about honesty and accountability. This is about each of us choosing to do the work for all of us. Because we can't just do more. We can't just do better. We must do the work.
All right. Good day, everyone. Pleased to be here with all of you today. I'm Vicky Setiono in Microsoft. I'm the country lead of Azure Business Group. And I'm happy to be here today with all of you to share more on Microsoft program, specifically to drive the social entrepreneurship program, or what we call the GSEP program. I will have the opportunity today to let you understand how we are making real the social entrepreneurship program, and how the startups and of course Indonesian local startups that can take benefit out of the program. Probably Mas Aldo or the team here can help to share my slides. Thank you. So Microsoft GSEP, Global Social Entrepreneurship Program. This is one of the real work from Microsoft on how we are actually driving the social entrepreneurship program. Next slide. In which the way we are looking at how the social entrepreneurship can be real, and to the fact that we understand that it cannot be one side of the effort, not just Microsoft. We are seeing these global challenges, social and environmental challenges, needs to come for together multiple parties. It requires the synergy between the right technology, the right partners, and the right resources. And when we are seeing the potential of digital technology and how the digital native company, the startups company, are actually driving the use of digital technology forward, that is where the opportunity we are seeing that social entrepreneurship agenda can be accelerated. And this is why Microsoft designed such program on what we called with Microsoft GSEP. And let me run through the detail on how the program works. Next slide. So Microsoft GSEP is intended to empower local startups who are driving the social and environmental challenges and solving it through the use of digital technology. And we invite those startups to join our Microsoft GSEP program. The program itself, GSEP, is building on top of Microsoft for Startup program, what we call with Founders Hub. While Founders Hub is the mainstream program from Microsoft to unlock innovation for all kind of startups, an inclusive program for startups. GSCP is a part of Founders Hub, whereby in GSCP we are intended to build this program for the startups that are focusing on social and environmental technology. A couple of benefits that I can try to mention where this is actually part of the Founders Hub program itself. Number one is access to Microsoft technologies, right? And when I say access to Microsoft technologies, it also includes the benefits on how you will receive Azure credits. I will go later into this one in my upcoming slides, and you will receive access to the other technology from Microsoft, such as GitHub and advanced technology like OpenAI. You will have the opportunity to be supported by Microsoft engineers to ensure your startup is being empowered by the right resources. And for specifically for GSCP program, right, where these are not actually can be found on the mainstream Founders Hub program. In GSEP, we are building a specific community building, and then the ecosystem that are specifically built for those startups that are within the environmental and social startup. So with this ecosystem, we hope that it's the like-minded, brilliant technology people that will accelerate the agenda of social entrepreneurship program. Next slide. So let me go detail into the Founders Hub itself. So as a startup that are running sustainability tech, healthcare tech, as well as edu tech. So this is where you can apply for Founders Hub. And then let me run through you on the details. Next slide. So Founders Hub, this is an inclusive program that Microsoft built. When we say inclusive, we want to ensure that not only certain startups that have requirements around you need to be in certain stage funding, we don't need such requirement. Whether you are backed by certain investors, we don't need such requirement. We are building a Founders Hub to actually be inclusive, whereby anyone can be invited. We are inviting anyone to join Founders Hub. Next slide. In which there will be 4 stages that will be categorized into the Founders Hub applicants. Whether you are a startup with ideation without the product, right? Or you're a startup that already delivering MVPs, what we call the develop stage. And then the other stage is grow, when you actually have your product already throw your product to the market and you already have customers. And then scale is where you're actually looking to scale further your product into the market. So we want to unlock innovation. We want to unlock innovation by powering your startup with Microsoft Azure. And this is the free credit that we will give to the startups upon the placement of each of the category. Next slide. And doesn't stop there, not just Azure free credit. This is the access to the technology that we are giving to the startups, to the Founders Hub member, GitHub Enterprise, Visual Studio Enterprise, and then the Microsoft Office 365 collaboration suite, right? Next slide. But not just stop there. We are partnering with advanced technology. OpenAI is one of the most popular technology today that are being requested by startup globally. It covers the capability of GPT-3 on how we are going to revolutionize the use of AI, particularly NLPs or natural language processing. Right. So this is where the package of benefit we are delivering through the Founders Hub program. Next slide. So then we will ensure you will have the right technical resources, 24/7 technical support, and this is part of the technical ecosystem that we will provide to our Founders Hub members. Next slide. And for the FAQ itself, many ask Microsoft how you as a startup can join Founders Hub. So Founders Hub itself, you can just simply search Microsoft Founders Hub. There is a verbose FAQ on how to get enrolled and accepted into Founders Hub program. And I'm happy to share that many Indonesian startups already accepted through Founders Hub, right? And globally as well. So regardless whether you're in Indonesia or in the region or globally, Founders Hub is now open for applicants, and making sure if you are sustainability tech company, sustainability tech startup, or around edutech or as well as health tech, make sure when you register, when you sign up for Founders Hub, you need to tag that your company. There is a special questions on the submission list asking whether you are a social entrepreneur company. Make sure you tick that box and complete the question, because that will trigger a special approval, because the GSEP program of Microsoft, we want to ensure that we recognize the startups that are building the social entrepreneurship program, and we will build a special community just for the GSEP members of the Founders Hub. And with that, I think it's something that should excite all the startups, being this is a very inclusive program that Microsoft designed to unlock innovation to all kind of digital native or startup company. And with that, that's the closing of my session, and we'll wait for you to join us in Founders Hub program, and especially on the GSEP program. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for Bapak Vicky and also Microsoft for have been supporting our program in Connect and also Kumpul X. I also would love to say thank you very much for Kirim Email, who have been providing awesome prizes. Kirim Email provides voucher card with a 15% discount for 12 lucky people. So if you want to be the lucky ones, please scan and enter the code Kumpul ID with caps lock when you are registering. And the 12 lucky people will be contacted by Kirim Email and get a voucher card. So after this, we will have 8 startups that already chosen to join our speed dating session for today. The session itself will be held in a separate room from today's panel discussion. And here I would like to say congratulations for the startups Rentik, Para Kerja, Pelepah, Liberty Society, Angkoters, Tabula, Suarais, and also Karya Desa. They are all great startups working in the field of diversity and inclusion. And they will be given an exclusive speed dating session provided by Kumpul. And they can connect and learn, also exploring collaboration opportunities with our expert and VC partners, which are Microsoft, Vertex Ventures, Jetro Jakarta, Ozora, Gobi Partners, Moonshot, and Ahmad Zaki Foundation. If you want also to get the exclusive moment to open new doors like them, stay tuned in Kumpul's channels, because we provide high quality programs and extensive opportunities for you to scale up and grow your business. In this month, we will have X Accelerator program by Kumpul, where you could explore more opportunities to leverage your business through mentoring classes with our notable experts. X Accelerator by Kumpul will help you to scale up and explore more opportunities, and you can join by checking out bit.ly/join-accelerator-kumpul or scan the barcode you see after this. So let's expand, explore, accelerate with X Accelerator by Kumpul.
KUMPUL Accelerator is an outstanding program that provides listeners with numerous potential partnership exploration.
Di mana kita bisa lebih mematangkan dari sisi produk kita dan melalui mentoring yang telah disiapkan oleh teman-teman dari KUMPUL.
Bagaimana kita menyiapkan strategi-strategi untuk current bisnis yang berjalan gitu, untuk bisa escalate, untuk bisa growth gitu ya.
Network kami bertambah dan opportunity untuk kolaborasi dengan startup lain dengan KUMPUL itu akhirnya bisa menjadi kenyataan.
Networking dengan perusahaan-perusahaan besar bisa membuka jalur untuk kami juga dapat mengimplementasikan teknologi yang kami develop di startup kami, Napit.
We got dedicated mentor that give us new insight and concern about our progress, workshop with experts that I can interact a lot with them in that workshop.
We are also so lucky to be selected as one out of 3 startups that got grant supports. So KUMPUL program is really impactful for the development of ecosystem, and this is the right program for startup to scale up and grow even further. Thank you, KUMPUL.
Okay, well, everyone, that's all for our 7th In Connect today. Once again, I would like to say thank you very much for joining us for today. Stay tuned on our Instagram at kumpul_id to get the heads up for more exciting programs to leverage your business. I am Ajeng, and I will see you in the next In Connect, Industry, Insight, and Connect. Goodbye.